The grand crystal chamber shimmered in the deep void, a beacon of soft, internal azure light. Within its expanse, 12 distinct alien species gathered around a massive table of solidified starlight. This was the Zenith Assembly, and an acute dread filled the air. Assembly Leader Vexter, his emerald scales catching the glow, paced at the table's edge. His upper limbs twitched with uncharacteristic tension. In his long tenure, a meeting of this urgency was unprecedented. "Fellow delegates," he began, his voice barely filling the cavernous space, "we face a crisis of unknown scale." Ambassador Chris of the HiGem conglomerate shifted, his sensory filaments curling and straightening with unease. He had first delivered the chilling intelligence. "Please, Ambassador Chris, relate the events as you told me," Vexter prompted. Chris rose slowly. His tone was hushed. "3 reconnaissance squadrons have vanished. All 3 were surveying a minor world on the fringe of the charted space, a planet designated Sol 3, or by its inhabitants, Earth." A murmur rippled through the delegates. Representative Thal of the Tydean Dominion leaned in. "Vanished? You mean successfully engaged and eliminated?" "No," Chris clarified. "Vanished means all trace is gone. No distress signals. Our recovery teams found no wreckage. They simply ceased to exist." Commander Yeth of the Steel Talon Collective offered a harsh, metallic laugh. 3 fleets gone. What kind of armaments could a nascent civilization possess? Our vessels are shielded against global annihilation ordnance. "That was our initial assessment," a new voice interjected. All eyes turned to Director Zane of the Unified Consciousness. Zane seldom contributed in the assembly. When he spoke, it held weight. Zane continued. "We also dispatched vessels to this Earth. Biomorphic craft, undetectable by standard technology. We sent 12. Only 1 returned." Silence descended. Biomorphic craft were the most advanced craft in the galaxy, sentient, adaptive, and virtually impossible to track or destroy. "The returning vessel, what was its condition?" Vexter asked. Zane's expansive dark visual organ seemed to dim. The navigator was fundamentally altered, broken. He repeated one phrase incessantly. "They were aware of our approach. They were prepared." Admiral Korak of the Stellar Sovereignty struck the table with a fist. "This defies all logic. We speak of a species yet to establish permanent settlements beyond their primary star. Our surveillance noted they are still reliant on chemical propellant rockets." "Our surveillance teams are also unaccounted for," a quiet voice countered from the perimeter. The delegates looked to Oracle Nala of the Void Seekers. The Void Seekers were masters of non-detection, their ships capable of traversing a stellar core unnoticed. "How many?" Vexter pressed. "All of them," Nala replied. "Every observation vessel sent to monitor Earth, 27 craft, lost." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of fear and speculation, panic crossing species lines. "Silence!" Vexter bellowed. "Order!" When calm was restored, he surveyed the grim faces. "This is the core issue. 7 separate powers have suffered losses near Earth, more than 100 ships and thousands of personnel. But that is not the most unsettling development." Chris, his filaments now tightly coiled, took over. 2 solar cycles ago, we intercepted a transmission originating from Earth. It was broadcast on every communication frequency utilized by the Assembly. It was translated and transmitted in all of our primary dialects. The hologram shifted to display text in countless non-human scripts. The message was uniform. We are aware of your observation. We wish to open a dialogue. How is their linguistic mastery possible? Representative Thal whispered. They acquired it, Zane stated, from our personnel. A chilling dread gripped the room. The notion that a primitive race could capture and extract information from high-tech crews was terrifying. The speed at which they had mastered entire linguistic structures from these interactions was paralyzing. There is further intelligence, Chris said. The hologram changed again, displaying a geometric structure orbiting Earth. Our deep scan instruments detected this structure a fortnight ago. It is an orbital station constructed with unfamiliar technology. Commander Yeth leaned forward. Impossible. You confirmed their use of chemical propulsion. They were, Chris replied, last month. This station did not exist last month. So they erected a major orbital platform in mere weeks? Admiral Korak questioned. Using unknown design principles? Not entirely unknown, Zane murmured. Examine the design closely. The hologram magnified the station. Gasps were audible. Familiar patterns emerged. That propulsion system, it's ours, Thal breathed. And those weapon apertures, they match Steel Talon military schematics, Commander Yeth realized. And that section, Oracle Nala added, employs Void-Seeker non-detection plating. The terrible truth settled. The humans had not just captured alien craft and crews. They had dissected the technology. And, beyond all rational explanation, they had surpassed it. How long do we have? Vexter asked. Before what? Chris countered. Before they initiate contact with us? The question hung, heavy with menace. These were the galaxy's elite, conquerors of systems, possessing eons of technological superiority. Yet these humans were different. They did not adhere to the expected pattern. When faced with advanced technology, most species either venerated it or fled from it. The humans had appropriated and enhanced it. We require total informational saturation, Vexter declared. I authorize the immediate release of all files concerning Earth. Every observation, every contact, every loss report. We must understand the nature of this adversary. And if they are a verifiable threat? Commander Yeth inquired. Vexter spread his upper limbs in a gesture of profound uncertainty. Then we execute our protocol. We adapt. We prevail. We endure. But as the delegates departed the crystal chamber to return to their sovereignties, a pervasive doubt eclipsed their confidence. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the hunter had become the quarry. And on a small, distant planet, the humans were poised and ready. The assembly hall had been repurposed into an investigative tribunal. 3 witnesses, survivors of the now designated Earth anomaly, sat at the center. Their testimonies would determine the immediate risk level posed by the Terran species. Captain Thrick of the Tydean Dominion testified first. The usual pride of his species, renowned for its supreme stealth technology, was gone. We approached Sol 3 using our premier invisible vessels, Thrick began, his voice strained. Our cloak systems have a 0% failure rate. We have monitored thousands of developing worlds without incident. Assembly Leader Vexter leaned closer. What factor changed this instance? They detected our presence 3 star systems out, Thrick reported. We registered radio transmissions, military command exchanges. They called our vessels hostiles and tracked our trajectory using a methodology called radar. Representative Thal looked confused. Radar? Define radar. It is a rudimentary tracking system, Thal. It bounces electromagnetic energy off targets to gauge their position. It should not register on our cloaked hulls. Our shells are engineered to absorb all energy signatures. But it proved effective, Vexter asked. Thrick nodded slowly. Not only did it work, but they appeared to possess foreknowledge of our ship's capabilities. When we initiated our invisibility protocols, they switched to thermal signatures. When we masked our heat emissions, they used something called gravimetric sensors. Anxiety intensified among the delegates. Gravimetric sensors were considered high-tier technology, mastered by only a handful of species. How did they acquire gravimetric sensor technology? Admiral Korak demanded. We cannot say, Admiral, but that was not the most alarming facet. When their fighter aircraft intercepted our patrol, we realized they had an advanced comprehension of three-dimensional combat theory. They moved in formations we had never documented. Flawless aerial coordination. Fighter jets, Commander Yeth scoffed. Atmospheric fighters against interstellar warships. Their jets were heavily modified, sealed cockpits, auxiliary rocket propulsion, and energy-based weaponry that should not exist on a primitive world. And the flight crews, he paused, visibly shaking. The pilots operated with total fearlessness. They treated our combat cruisers like practice targets. The second witness, Research Operative Zane of the Unified Consciousness, began his account. Our biomorphic ships are sentient. They learn, they adapt. They present as organic life forms, making them impervious to detection via artificial structure scanners. Yet the Terrans circumvented this. And they were successful in detecting them, Vexta pressed. Worse, Zane replied, they captured them. 12 biomorphic ships, all battle-hardened and ancient. The humans utilized electromagnetic nets, not to destroy, but to neutralize the vessels without permanent harm. Oracle Nala looked puzzled. Electromagnetic nets? That implies a precise understanding of the biomorphic ship's neural architecture. Precisely, Zane confirmed. They understood the ship's cognition, its reaction to various stimuli, how to induce a temporary non-lethal stasis. They knew our ship's anatomy. How could this knowledge be theirs? Representative Thal asked. Zane's large dark eyes focused on him. Because they had conducted previous captures. We were not their first victims. We were merely the latest. A shiver of fear passed through the room. What became of your crews? Vexter asked softly. The humans referred to it as aggressive exchange. They isolated our personnel, then commenced a process they called psychological profiling. They seemed to grasp how different species process thought and react under stress. They separated and analyzed our consciousness structure. They employed coercive methods? Commander Yeth asked. No, Zane stated, his answer chillingly worse than an affirmative. They never needed to. They simply engaged us in dialogue, asked questions, presented sensory data. Within a short time, they had absorbed our language, our societal structure, our technological principles, and our military strategies. That is a logistical impossibility, Admiral Korak insisted. No species achieves linguistic and technical fluency at that velocity. The Terrans do, Zane countered. They possess a capability they term pattern recognition. They establish linkages between disparate data points. They envision potential where other species only perceive established reality. The third witness, Commander Yeth of the Steel Talon Collective, stepped forward. His people were the galaxy's most feared warriors. If any species should have overwhelmed the primitives, it was the Steel Talon. But Yeth appeared defeated. We deployed a full battle formation, 50 warships, 2,000 elite warriors. We anticipated a facile victory against a species still utilizing chemical propellants. What occurred? Vexter asked, dreading the inevitable. They were ready for us.
not just prepared, but anticipating our arrival with impossible accuracy. How could they possess that foreknowledge? We believe they intercepted our communications, but not just the semantic content. They understood our military protocols, our attack schematics, our entire chain of command. You spoke of an orbital platform, Vexter prompted. What was its distinct quality? Everything, Yeth lamented. It targeted us with our own armaments, steel talon plasma projectors, Tidian kinetic cloaking missiles, unified consciousness biological defense mechanisms, but they were all enhanced, improved. How were they improved? They exhibited enhanced precision, elevated power yield, and superior energy efficiency. The humans had taken our technology and made it superior to its original design. Admiral Korak struck the table again. That is an absurdity. We have refined these systems for millennia. The humans, Yeth replied, have been studying conflict for the entirety of their history. Every confrontation, every engagement, every tactical evolution. They absorbed not only their own failures, but the failures of every other participant. So they neutralized your formation? Vexter asked. Worse, Yeth corrected. They took the majority of it. The ships that attempted withdrawal were tracked by human vessels, vessels that exhibited an impossible velocity. How fast was their velocity? They achieved faster-than-light movement, but not by any method we document. No warp drive, no jump conduit. They employed a novel mechanism. The implications paralyzed the assembly. Humans had not only defended against 3 separate assaults, but had captured, reverse-engineered, and exponentially improved advanced foreign technology. There is one last piece of data, Yeth added quietly. Before my ship escaped, we intercepted a human military transmission, tactical chatter. What was the content? Vexter asked. Yeth looked around the assembly of galactic civilization. When he spoke, his voice was a near whisper. Stage 1, operational. Begin preparation for Stage 2. The silence that followed was deafening. Stage 1. The humans considered their defense of their homeworld to be merely the opening move. What is the projected objective of Stage 2? Representative Thal finally asked. The witnesses offered no reply. The conclusion was universal. Stage 2 would signify the humans transitioning from defense to offense. And based on their accomplishments in Stage 1, the galaxy was profoundly unprepared.
Dr. Li Hyun walked the subterranean corridors beneath the city of Seoul, his boots clicking on the metallic deck. This covert facility, established over the last 5 cycles following the first alien probe detection, was now the nucleus of human-alien research. Situation report, Li Hyun requested upon entering the main laboratory. Captain Park Soo looked up from a tactical display. We are maintaining custody of 17 extraterrestrial personnel from 7 species. All have become cooperative since we detailed the context of their confinement. You detailed the context? Li Hyun raised an eyebrow. We offered the truth, Park Soo replied with a faint smile. That we intend them no physical harm, but they will not be released until we fully comprehend their intentions in approaching Earth. Engineer Kim Rae emerged from behind a partially dismantled spacecraft, her protective gloves coated in a luminescent residue. Doctor, you must see this. The Tidian stealth coating is not intrinsically superior. It's merely a different application of physics. Demonstrate, Li Hyun requested. Kim Rae led him to a bench holding pieces of alien hull plating. They employ metamaterials to refract electromagnetic energy around the vessel, an elegant solution but prone to specific vulnerabilities, such as, it is optimized for a narrow band of frequencies. If the observer knows the correct frequency, the cloak is transparent. This explains the efficacy of our radar. Li Hyun nodded.
This was a consistent finding. Alien technology was highly advanced, but often over-specialized. They had engineered solutions for specific obstacles, neglecting creative diversification. The steel talon weapons? He asked. Powerful but inefficient, Kim Rae summarized. They prioritize raw force over refinement. We have already improved their plasma discharge cannons by 30% simply by calibrating the magnetic field generators. And the biomorphic ships? They are the most intriguing. The unified consciousness grows their vessels. However, their neural networks are simplistic compared to the architecture of the human brain. We have successfully established interfaces using adapted computational systems. He moved to a section where Dr. Yoon Jin worked amid complex algorithms and holographic displays charting movement vectors. Progress on the FTL research? Lee Hyun inquired. Dr. Yoon Jin looked up, excitement in her eyes. We have cataloged 3 distinct FTL mechanisms from the captured fleets. Each species developed its own approach, but none are truly efficient. Can we refine them? We can do better, Yoon Jin corrected. We can synthesize them. The Tidian transition matrix, the steel talon power cores, and the biomorphic ship's neural navigation. Integrated, they will produce a propulsion system exponentially faster and more accurate than any single component. Quantify the improvement. Potentially 10 times the speed of the fastest captured vessel. Lee Hyun permitted a smile. This was the distinguishing factor of humanity. When presented with multiple solutions, humans did not select one. They sought to combine them all. General Chui Bin entered the lab, a stern figure who had overseen Earth's secret defense preparations for a decade. Doctor, it is time to discuss our next operational phase. Your intentions, General. The hostiles are mobilizing. Our intelligence indicates a coordinated counter-assault, multi-species cooperation. Estimated deployment size? At minimum, 1,000 vessels. Potentially more. Lee Hyun felt a chill. Earth's defenses were formidable, but 1,000 ships posed an existential threat. Our options. Captain Park Soo stepped forward. We maintain our current posture, relying on the orbital platform and our home field advantage. Or, General Choi Ben proposed, we engage them on their own ground. Initiate preemptive strikes. Neutralize their command structure before they can consolidate. With what assets? Lee Hyun asked. We possess no star fleet. Engineer Kim Lae's face broke into a wide grin. Actually, Doctor, we do. She led them to a concealed sector of the facility, a massive high-security hangar. Inside, 24 spacecraft waited, unlike anything Lee Hyun had ever seen. We call them hybrid class, built upon human engineering doctrines, incorporating the finest alien technology we have salvaged. The ships were sleek, predatory machines, merging the angular efficiency of Terran design with the organic curves of alien biomaterials. Total combat readiness? General Chui Bin asked. 50 vessels, Kim Rae confirmed, with ongoing production. The crews? Human pilots augmented by alien AI nodes, Park Soo stated. This combination grants us the optimal synergy. Human adaptability and creativity, joined with alien computational power. Dr. Yoon Jin joined them. These vessels are equipped with our new integrated FTL drives. They can outpace and outmaneuver any alien craft we have encountered. Lee Hyun moved to a section where Dr. Yoon Jin worked amid complex algorithms and holographic displays charting movement vectors. The tactical blueprint. General Choi Bin activated a holograph star map. We have identified 3 key hostile installations within 50 light-years from Earth. A Tidian research outpost, a steel talon forward operating base, and a unified consciousness communication relay. We strike all 3 simultaneously. Surgical strikes, designed for data acquisition and technological seizure, a clear statement. What is the content of that statement? That Earth is no longer simply defending itself. We are an active participant in galactic affairs. Dr. Yoon Jin expressed concern. Are we certain of this course? Attacking their installations is a point of no return. There was no point of return the moment they deemed us a target for invasion, General Choi Bin stated firmly. We offered peace. They responded by sending more warships. Li Hyun slowly concurred. The general was correct. Humanity had attempted peaceful contact, but was met with hostility. When is the launch window? Sunrise tomorrow, General Choi Bin replied. Admiral Nam Woo commands the spatial operations. Colonel Oh Dan leads the infiltration teams. The extraterrestrial personnel? Li Hyun asked. We will release them following the operation, carrying a message for their governments. The message? That humanity is open to diplomatic relations with any species that treats us as equals, but any species that persists in viewing us as primitives to be conquered will learn the danger of that misjudgment. As they exited the hangar, Li Hyun felt a surge of adrenaline and apprehension. Humanity was stepping onto the interstellar stage, not as victims, but as sovereign actors. The aliens had miscalculated the essence of human ingenuity. Tomorrow, they would learn that some mistakes are catastrophically irreversible. In less than a day, the balance of power would shift, and it would favor the small blue planet that refused to yield.
Admiral Nam Woo stood on the bridge of the Soul's Sovereignty, the lead hybrid vessel. The star field rushed past the view screen. The ship, a fusion of Terran and alien technologies, thrummed with restrained kinetic power. Status check, he ordered. All ships maintaining tight formation, reported Navigation Officer Kim Min. Estimated time to target Alpha, 37 minutes. Target Beta reports ready status, confirmed Communications Officer Park Hana. Colonel Odan's ground units are deployed. And Target Gamma? Captain Lee Jun confirms his cyber warfare specialists are prepared, Park Hana replied. Nam Woo nodded. 3 targets, 3 tailored strategies. Target Alpha, a Tydian research facility on exotic materials, lightly defended but rich in data. Target Beta, a Steel Talon military outpost, a key logistical hub. Target Gamma, a unified consciousness neural network relay, a crucial communications nexus. Tactical alert, called Yoon Sara, the tactical officer. Approaching Tydian station, no detection alarms. Nam Woo allowed himself a thin smile. The human ships employed enhanced Tydian stealth tech, rendering them invisible even to their creators. Release the insertion team, he commanded. A smaller craft detached from the Sovereignty and drifted toward the station. Inside, a dozen human special operators, led by Sergeant Bae Young, prepared. Their objective, secure the station, minimize structural damage. The insertion vessel used a potent blend of technologies, Tydian cloaking fields, Steel Talon shield negators to bypass barriers, and unified consciousness neural interfaces to manipulate the station's automated systems. We are inside their defensive perimeter, Bae Yong's voice crackled over the comms. Commencing docking sequence at the maintenance airlock. The Tydian researchers continued their work, oblivious to the intrusion. The AI registered nothing anomalous as the human craft latched onto the lock. Airlock secured, Bae Yong reported, disabling internal security matrix. Humans had extensively studied Tydian behavior. The Tydians relied heavily on automation and possessed low expectations for direct physical infiltration, preferring technological, long-range engagements. Security grid offline, Corporal Shin Yu reported from inside.
Advancing to Primary Control Center. The Tydean scientists registered the attack only when the human soldiers appeared in their laboratories. The aliens froze, eyes wide in disbelief. Maintain composure, Sergeant Baeyong instructed in flawless Tydean. We are here for data, not casualties. Locate your station administrator. At Target Beta, the situation was fundamentally different. The Steel Talon outpost was a fortress built for sustained military engagement. Colonel O'Don knew that subtlety was futile. All units commence immediate engagement, he ordered from his command ship, the Busan's Hammer. 20 hybrid warships materialized from the void and unleashed fire. The aliens were met not with the expected primitive kinetic weaponry, but with hybrid energy systems blending Terran innovation and captured alien power. The Steel Talon defenders scrambled, confronting tactics they had never encountered. The human ships executed unpredictable, three-dimensional maneuvers that confused their targeting systems. Instead of linear, predictable attack patterns of most species, the humans were constantly improvising. Shield integrity holding, reported Weapons Officer Choi Mira, but power distribution is asymmetric. Exploit that weakness, Colonel O'Don ordered. Concentrate fire on Shield Sector Gamma 7. Shields down in Sector Gamma 7, Mira reported. Boarding parties execute insertion. Human assault shuttles raced toward the breach. Inside were troops armed with specialized weapons designed to counter Steel Talon physiology. The aliens were formidable, but they were encountering humans who had studied and countered their entire combat doctrine. Where the Steel Talon expected individual duels, they faced disciplined, squad-based, coordinated warfare. At Target Gamma, Captain Lee Jun conducted a completely different war. The Unified Consciousness node was shielded by complex cyber defenses and biomorphic security systems. A kinetic assault was useless against a target that was essentially a colossal, sentient mind. Initiating neural bypass, reported cyber warfare specialist Dr. Lim Hay. Connecting to the Hive network. The humans had learned to interface with the biomorphic systems using captured technology. Instead of attempting to overwhelm the hive mind, they chose a more insidious approach. Upload the paradox algorithm, Captain Lee Jun ordered. The human programmers had developed a unique digital pathogen meant to target hive consciousness. It did not destroy data, it introduced contradictory information and conflicting directives. For a species reliant on perfect cohesion, confusion was the ultimate weapon. Hive exhibiting systemic decision paralysis. Multiple nodes are receiving mutually exclusive commands, initiating data extraction. As the collective mind wrestled with the internal paradoxes, human teams began siphoning every accessible piece of information: star charts, strategic battle plans, technological schematics, all flowing into Terran databases. Back at Target Alpha, Sergeant Baeyong was engaging the Tydean station administrator. "You have committed a profound error," the alien stammered. "The Tydean Dominion will never tolerate this aggression." "Respectfully, Commander, your Dominion has been inserting unauthorized surveillance craft into our system for months. We offered diplomacy, you responded with increased deployment. Your assessment of our species as primitive is fundamentally flawed." To illustrate, Baeyong activated a holodisplay showing live feeds from the other two operations. The Tydean commander watched in horror as the Steel Talon warriors, the galaxy's elite fighters, were systematically defeated by human teams, and the collective hive, supposedly unassailable, was being digitally dismantled. "This is not possible," the commander whispered. This is the outcome when you underestimate a species that has been preparing for interstellar contact for decades. Within 3 hours, all 3 human teams completed their objectives. The Tidian research station was secured intact. The Steel Talon base was subdued, with minimal casualties. The unified consciousness node was compromised and left in a state of digital chaos. Admiral Nam Wu stood on his bridge as the fleet regrouped. Their holds contained prisoners, captured technology, and intelligence that would occupy Earth scientists for years. "Transmit the message," he commanded. A transmission went out to every major civilization in the sector. The content was simple. "This is the Earth Defense Force. Today we demonstrated our capacity to project power beyond our home system. We neutralized 3 military installations used to coordinate hostile action against Earth. We secured valuable intelligence and technology, minimizing casualties among the involved personnel."
The Zenith Assembly Hall felt utterly transformed. The soft blue light and the starlight table were the same, but the atmosphere was thick with palpable anxiety. Assembly Leader Vexter looked over the delegates. Several seats were vacant, their occupants dealing with the aftermath of the human strikes. At the center of the hall stood a human, Captain Lee Yun of the Terran Diplomatic Corps. He was calm and self-possessed, flanked by Security Chief Bei Wan, a grim-faced woman with an unfamiliar sidearm, and Science Advisor Dr. Lim He, holding a data tablet containing intelligence that could revolutionize galactic technology. "The emergency session is now convened," Vexter announced, his voice devoid of its former authority. "Captain Lee Yun, you requested this meeting. The Assembly recognizes you as the first official envoy of the species known as humanity." Lee Yun took a slight step forward. "Thank you, Council Prime. I value this opportunity to address this august body." "You value it?" Ambassador Chris's filaments thrashed. "Your species attacked 3 of our key installations. You have violated every interspecies accord." "With due respect, Ambassador, what accords? Earth was never invited into your galactic society. We were never informed of these laws. Your species have violated our sovereign space for months." "Your sovereign space," Representative Thal scoffed. "You possess no sovereignty. You are a primitive species that has barely achieved orbit." Lee Yun's subtle smile returned. "I believe recent events have revised that assessment." The room erupted, threats and accusations mixing into a desperate soundscape. "Order!" Vexter shouted. When quiet returned, Commander Yeth stood, his warrior pride deeply injured. "You confiscated our technology. You appropriated our weapons and used them against us." "We optimized your technology," Lee Yun corrected smoothly. "Your plasma weaponry was inefficient. Your defensive matrices were structurally weak. We merely rectified those deficiencies." "Rectified them?" Admiral Korak slammed the table. "Those weapons represent millennia of development." "Then your standards for perfection are quite low," Dr. Lim He stated quietly. She activated her datapad, projecting holographs detailing technical specifications of various alien systems. "Your stealth mechanisms are only effective against sensor types you've previously encountered. Your FTL drives exhibit massive energy loss. Your data networks are vulnerable to rudimentary logical paradoxes. From a Terran perspective, galactic technology is impressive in scale, but primitive in design." Silence. The delegates stared at data demonstrating how their most advanced systems could be fundamentally improved. "How is this achievement possible?" Oracle Nala asked softly. "Because you ceased genuine innovation,"
Li Yun answered. Each of your species solved a problem, then stopped searching for superior solutions. You became complacent. And the Terrans did not? Vexter asked. Humans were never afforded that luxury, Security Chief Bei Wan interjected. We have been in internal conflict for our entire documented history. Every human war forced the development of better weapons, stronger defenses, and more adaptive strategies. Innovate or perish. That is the source of your danger, Director Zane observed. You do not think linearly. You perceive potential where we see only established fact. Precisely, Li Yun agreed, which leads to the purpose of my visit. He displayed new holographs showing star lanes and trade routes. Earth seeks to join galactic civilization, not as a subordinate or curiosity, but as an equal partner. Equal partner, Ambassador Chris laughed bitterly. Your species has been capable of stellar travel for less than a single century. In that time, Dr. Lim He replied, we have generated hybrid technologies that surpass the output of any single species here. We have proven our ability to seize and hold contested territory against numerically superior forces. We have demonstrated our capacity to adapt and refine any technology we encounter. What is your formal proposition? Vexter asked cautiously. Li Yun displayed a range of technical specifications. Exchange, he said simply. We will share our enhancements to your technologies in exchange for access to interstellar commerce, communication networks, and the right to peaceful exploration. And should we reject this proposal? Commander Yeth pressed. Then nothing is altered. You continue to regard us as primitives, and we will continue to react accordingly. However, I must caution you, our recent operations were limited in scope, designed for data collection and demonstration of capability. Should we be forced to defend ourselves again, our response will be proportionately magnified. Representative Thal gazed at the display of improved Tidian technology. What guarantee of non-aggression can you offer? The same guarantee you offer us, mutual deterrence. You do not attack us, we do not attack you. But you would attack us if we threatened you, Admiral Korak asked. Naturally, any species would. The distinction is that we have proven our capacity to execute it effectively. Oracle Nala leaned forward. What of species that genuinely desire peaceful coexistence with humanity? We are eager to establish commerce and cultural exchange, Dr. Lim He answered. Human innovation combined with alien expertise holds universal benefit. She projected new diagrams. For example, integrating Terran agricultural methodology with collective bioengineering could resolve food scarcity across countless worlds. Human manufacturing techniques integrated with steel talon metallurgy could yield materials superior to either species operating alone. The delegates, despite their terror and fury, began to show a growing fascination. The potential benefit was undeniable. This is a momentous choice, Vexter summarized. You demand acceptance as equals after a military assault on our territory. We request that you acknowledge the new reality. Humanity is now a stellar power, possessing advanced technologies and the ability to project force across interstellar distances. You may choose to align with us or oppose us, but you can no longer ignore us. Vexter looked at the faces around the table. We require time to deliberate your proposal. Certainly, Li Yun agreed. However, as you deliberate, be aware that other human vessels are exploring the cosmos. They may encounter species that are yet to receive our diplomatic outreach. It would be mutually beneficial to establish peace rapidly, prior to any further misunderstandings. How do we initiate contact? Vexter asked. Dr. Lim He presented him with a small device. This is a quantum communicator. It facilitates instantaneous communication with Earth, regardless of the distance. Quantum communication? Director Zane looked stunned. That is theoretical physics. Not anymore, Dr. Limhay replied with a small smile. As the human delegation prepared to depart, Li Yun turned back one final time. Delegates of the Zenith Assembly, humanity does not seek to dominate the galaxy. We wish to explore it, learn from it, and contribute to its complexity. We believe that diversity of thought strengthens all parties. But, Security Chief Baywan added, we also believe that respect is not inherent, it is earned and must be maintained. Any species that treats us as peers will find a powerful ally. Any species that treats us as subjects will learn the ultimate hazard of that error. The human delegation exited the chamber, leaving the alien representatives to process a chilling new truth. A species had entered the interstellar community not by invitation, but by demonstrating that it was too capable to be excluded. The age of facile conquest was over. The age of earned respect had dawned.